Good evening and welcome to the WDSU News Hot Seat. I'm Travers Mackel. Tonight we're talking about one of the biggest stories this week, really this year in 2019, the fire at 2525 St. Charles, the Montgomery Grace Mansion. Obviously, a lot of close ties to the Rex organization. We have a big panel to discuss this right now. Superintendent Tim McConnell from the New Orleans Fire Department, James Reese from the Rex organization, and our own reporter Aubrey Killian, who was at the scene all day a couple of days ago when this happened. We got a lot to discuss, but let's just get right to it, Chief. Where do things stand right now with your agency as it pertains to this massive fire? 7 alarms, not something you see too often in New Orleans.
Yeah. I mean, first I'd like to say, our heart goes out to the Montgomery Grace family. Obviously, it's such a tragic loss, and then a tragic loss to the community. Right now, we're at a point we have heavy equipment in there. We're starting, or actually picking through the debris, starting to get close to where the seat of our fire is and come up with what our origin and cause is. For us, it's always about that. Obviously, once you get the fire out, you want to find out what caused it for many reasons. But the point of origin gets you to the cause. And so we're digging through that debris, going through it methodically with investigators. We have great partners with the State Fire Marshal and the ATF working with my team. And I feel confident we'll get to something.
People want things done immediately now, but that's not really reality. How long does an investigation like this take?
Investigations of this nature, where what really slows it down and what has been slowing us down and why we have this heavy equipment out there picking through it, is the structure. So the structure's unstable. Debris falling on people has to all be removed before we can put investigators in that hole. At this point, very lucky no one got hurt, no one got killed, in a massive fire like this, that we can do the investigation safely and come out with the same outcome health-wise for all the individuals involved.
Let's talk about the Rex organization, Mr. Reese. This home has close ties to the Rex organization, as has been reported for the last several days. Heartbreaking for the members. First question, obviously heartbreaking for them.
It is. The Rex organization has had a tradition of stopping and toasting at this home, toasting the residents who have lived there over the years, many of whom have served as Rex themselves. Prior to being known as the Montgomery Grace Mansion, the home I believe was referred to as the Morris Downman home, and several of the Morris brothers, I believe 2 of them, served as Rex. Mr. Downman bought the home in 1906 and himself served as Rex as 1907, which is the first year that the toast began, and has gone on every year since. So while it is a tragic loss for the family and for the organization, we too are extremely happy that no one was hurt. And our first thoughts are always with the first responders who have done such an amazing job. I've talked to the family, and I know that that is their main concern, is that no one came away injured. The great news is we're going to continue the tradition. So we're happy to stop there again this year. We don't know exactly how that's going to work. We're going to allow the first responders to dictate exactly how we can set up and make that happen. But it is a historic part of our history since 1907, and we're not going to let a fire stop it.
We're going to talk more about the artifacts that were pulled out. Paintings, there's a chalice that you all used to toast with, which we're going to get to in a moment. But Aubrey, you were at the scene. It wasn't just members of Rex, it was people in the community who were coming up to you saying, my God, I can't believe this is happening, such a historic home on St. Charles Avenue. Tell us what it was like being at the scene and seeing all these people come up to that house.
It was incredible. I mean, we were there for hours. We had multiple crews there, and it was members of Rex, the women of Rex that, their husbands ride in it, to just people in the community. They were bringing out water for firefighters. They were bringing food, you name it. It was interesting to see people fighting back tears on the scene, as well as you could see the firefighters just going and going and going and going and going all day. And Chief, I witnessed at least 2 collapses, one on the front of the building, and then while I was interviewing you the other day, in the middle of it, a 40-foot chimney collapsed, and thank God nobody was inside at the time. But it was just incredible to see how it was working and just the drama of the whole situation.
We've seen video, and we're going to show some right now, of the flames protruding through the roof. Could you feel it? I mean, I think you were set up on St. Charles Avenue. Could you feel this from 100 yards away?
You could, and also when I was driving in, you could feel the smoke as well. You could smell it from the interstate coming into the CBD, and you could feel the flames, obviously see them, but also the smoke aspect was pretty incredible just walking to it. You almost had to cover your mouth for a little bit and your nose just because of the intensity of it.
Chief, let's talk about the response to this. It went to 7 alarms. The Canal Street fire in early 2016 was 6 alarms. 7 alarms is one of the biggest fires in the history of Uptown. What does it take for your department to get something like that under control? Because obviously this took the better part of a day, probably 36 hours, to get it under control.
It did. It took, we actually placed it under control about 6 hours in, about 1:45, but that's not out. And it took several days before we actually placed it out. What happens is that collapse, and it's smoldering underneath, and it's hard to get to. And once again, the safety of the firefighters at that point to make sure that we get anything that can fall on them. As Aubrey said, that chimney collapse was as we were doing an interview, and I'm curious what my reaction looked like, because
it was
obviously the safety of the firefighters is number one, and that's exactly why. And it was probably a great example of why it takes so long. So until we can get the collapse danger gone, and then start picking through it and get to the bottom and get it put out, then we can move to the investigation. But fighting a fire like that is a huge challenge, and that's why it resulted in such a high alarm.
Years ago, in 2012, I was at the Ubix Pie fire scene, and the front of that structure actually collapsed. Is the concern not just getting it under control on that day, but then you have to worry about the building collapsing entirely and adjacent buildings possibly collapsing?
Yes, as you listen to those fires, our tapes are all public record and everything, you hear us talking about collapse zone again and again. And as we divide the incident into different divisions and have officers, chief officers in charge of it, and you'll hear repeatedly us talking about the collapse zone. Well, firefighters immediately know what that means, that it's clearly identified and they know where not to go. And so that does become a huge concern. And in this case, the reason it escalated to a 7 alarm was we had that 5-story condominium next door. And so trying to protect that became, at some point, we saw it coming, started getting more resources there to protect and make sure it didn't spread to that, because obviously that would have been, 20 families living there in a 5-story building. So the challenges of doing that we saw with the Park Esplanade just the week before.
Mr. Reese, we're in the height of carnival season right now. Rex is getting ready to parade. I think everybody is happy to hear that you all will continue this tradition, but there were a lot of pieces of art that were being pulled out just a few days ago, and one key piece of Rex history, the chalice that you all used for the toast, were you able to salvage that? Where do things stand with that? Because I think people are interested in hearing these kinds of details and what was salvaged.
Sure. In any photo you see of that iconic toast will show what we refer to as the loving cup. The family calls the loving cup. A sterling silver chalice, trophy-like cup that has antler horns on the side. As of now, I'm not aware that it's been recovered. I know the chief and his great people in the fire department are going to assist the family in trying to recover it. We're all on the same page that it's certainly, while a wonderful piece of history, it's certainly not worth anybody getting hurt over. So hopefully that maybe can be recovered. If not, we'll find a suitable replacement, and the show will go on. There are countless memorabilia, countless pieces of Rex history that were there. All of which is certainly a tragedy, but the fact that everybody got out safe is really what's important.
And I think the most amazing photo, though, and I think you tweeted a picture of it on social media, is firefighters were pulling out some of these pieces of art and lining them up on the street. If you could talk about that, what they saved a few days ago, Aubrey.
Yeah, a lot of fantastic, incredible paintings were coming one by one. Family members as well as NOFD were pulling them out, and it was incredible to see some of it. I mean, you could see there was damage, but some of it looked not that damaged considering the scope of a 7-alarm fire. I mean, I was expecting it to be burnt, melted, and it was incredible that anything was salvageable, because it was not what I was expecting when it was coming out.
There were several things that were recovered by the fire department that I know from talking with the family were extremely personal and important to them, and they expressed the same sentiment, that they couldn't believe that anything had survived that, and these guys were able to recover some of that, which was amazing.
Moving forward, obviously, Rex has been very philanthropic in this community. Do you reach out to the family? Do you try to help them? Have you all done anything in the immediate days following? And what will you do from a long-term plan, if possible, if they even need or want any kind of assistance?
We certainly are talking with the family privately. They themselves have been so amazingly charitable to the New Orleans community. The house has not only hosted carnival monarchs and carnival happenings and celebrations, but it's been the site of numerous charitable events over the years. So we're going to talk with them closely, and of course anything the Rex organization can do to help any of our friends in the community, we will absolutely do. But they themselves have been so giving to the city that you know, we're just here to support them in any way.
And if you could talk about this, Chief, one of the final questions here. There are a lot of high-profile fires. This is a tragic one that no one likes to see happen. You don't like to see any fire happen. Ubig's Pie Fire, the Canal Street Fire, the Fairgrounds, if we want to go back into the, I think it was the early 1990s. Back then, how difficult is it for firefighters in New Orleans to fight these fires, because a lot of them are close-quarter fires? I mean, the houses here, we're a unique city. We have interesting architecture, historic buildings, and homes that are this far apart right here. Does that present new challenges to firefighters?
From a firefighting, excuse me, from a firefighting perspective, we were fortunate that this was on a corner, that it wasn't in the middle of a block where we would have had exposures on both sides. We had the exposure of the 5-story condo on one side, and that posed a challenge because one of the things we do, we read the smoke and the direction of wind. That tells us where the fire is going to go. And we knew that that fire, because of the direction of the wind, the fire was going to go that direction. And as you saw, you know, and you can see from the videos, that was a huge challenge. If the wind had been blowing the other way, we wouldn't have even had a threat there. But these type of buildings and the proximity to each other is a huge challenge. This building in particular, and I commented on it at the scene, it's due to its age, it's a balloon frame construction. Construction methodologies through codes have changed dramatically, which has improved firefighting. What happens in a balloon frame construction, so this fire, we're almost 100% sure it started in the basement, so that's where the focus is of the investigation, why it's taken so much to get to the point, picking through, you know, the point of origin, picking through it. It then spreads up the walls. That wouldn't happen in a modern construction, so there's unconfined spaces that communicate with each other, up the walls, in between the floors, continuing up the walls all the way to the attic top floor. And that makes it a huge challenge in these type of fires. So very quickly, you had people going to the first company attacking the fire in the basement, but then you had the next ones going up and opening walls and trying to stop the fire from spreading and up to the attic. But it was just so far ahead of us.
And final question here, as we do wrap up with you, Mr. Reese, just to reiterate this, Rex plans on toasting at this spot and continuing this tradition in just a few days here.
We do. Yeah, obviously, we roll our entire parade with the permission of the first responders, the fire department and the police department, and their help and assistance. And so, with their permission, if we're able to make it happen, Rex once again will move from the riverside of St. Charles Avenue to the lakeside and stop and toast, as we have done, the families that have lived there and their contribution, not just to Rex, but to all of Carnival and New Orleans. So we plan on being there.
All right, we appreciate all. Go ahead, Chief.
I'll just comment. We've already working with the Rex organization, police department, and safety and permits to make sure that it happens. We have, when I left the scene this morning, we had fences going up to protect, you know, anybody from being able to be, you know, obviously it's still